Hi there! Welcome to another happy fun installment of Cooking Fun Times with Callie. It's been about probably 2 years since I've done a video like this. What we have here is this fancy little beer box. I'm just gonna rip off a piece of this cardboard here like so. You have a blunt edge, which is the piece that you have previously ripped, and you've got the sharp edge, and just cut straight down. See that? Look at that. That's gonna be a great slice. Now it's gonna get a little soggy when you do that, so you're gonna have to rotate. You know what? No, fuck it. We're just gonna rip the tomato. Just rip it apart. There you go. This one is a little better production quality. Let's get started. Today we're going to be looking at how to make a delicious beef stew while you're on quarantine for your quarantine. For our ingredients today, we have onion, celery, and carrot. Boomer gold potatoes. Because if there's anything our boomers need right now, it's for us to treat them like goddamn gold. What the fuck was that? We also have our beef broth, to which we'll be adding some flour and butter. We also have our beef, which as you can see, I've already diced up into smaller pieces. Guys, stop fighting! Cool it! Where's the biggest piece in here? Now the thing you want to take into the most amount of consideration when cutting up your beef is the size of the mouths that you are trying to feed. If you are like me, and you have a husband who has a very large mouth and doesn't always shut up, you're going to want to cut it a little bigger. Just kidding, I'm the one with the big mouth. You also need to take into consideration that your beef, through the cooking process, will shrink. It's going to lose a lot of that moisture. It's going to shrink as much as your ego will over the course of this quarantine because your ass can't go out to the club anymore and brag about all the things you never did. The first thing you're going to want to do is cut up all your vegetables so that there's approximately an even amount of all three of them happening in the same bowl. You want to kind of cut it up like the first time you cut the whiskers off of your childhood cat growing up. I swear to God, I never did that. When you've completed cutting up your vegetables, they should look like so. This is what we call in the cooking industry a mirepoix, or mirepoix if you're nasty. Now you see, in kitchen life, it is always important to have some coffee on hand in case you start getting a little sleepy or you show up a little hungover. I can't feel my tongue. And don't forget, you're gonna want to season with both salt and pepper every step of the way. I prefer fresh ground. Oh, that was for the cats. So you can see here, everything is nice and evenly spread out, covered in a little bit of olive oil, nice salt and pepper. Spread it out. It's gonna go into the oven about 375 just to roast it up, get it all nice and crispy on the outside, but you want a little tender on the inside. Now while your oven's warming up, you're gonna... While our oven's heating up, we're gonna start heating up our beef broth in a separate pot. And to that, we're gonna add our butter and flour combination, which is otherwise known as a roux. Now, if you don't know what a roux is, beside the weird sound that a wolf makes in the middle of the night, or the sound that your girlfriend makes when you're plowing her, Google it. It's basically a simple combination of flour and butter in equal parts that you cook to a certain consistency to add thickness to any stew or broth. As it would appear, I'm a lying piece of shit. Our grocery store is currently completely sold out of flour. I assume from panic buying. There's absolutely none left. Just like the toilet paper and the soap, although the flour honestly really confuses me. I mean, unless you're into antiquing your own asshole with all the toilet paper and flour that you've stocked up on, I guess that would be the only thing that makes sense. If you're into antiquing your ass, I guess that's what's going on. So instead, we're gonna use cornstarch, Fleischmann's. Equally as good as a thickener, and makes it gluten and dairy free, which in our day and age, friendly. You know what that sound means? Our beef is done. Let's have a look. Shh, Jesus Christ. Shut the fuck up. As you can see, we have some nicely cooked beef. We're gonna wanna drain off the juices, put that in a little colander boy, and get that into a bowl. Stop it! We're gonna get that into a bowl. Oh my God. Here's the beef, all delicious and roast. It's dripping on me. Hot goddamn meat juices. Our next step is to take our mirepoix. Oh my god, I just got laid off. Fuck. It's just quarantine, man. Everybody's going through it. Everything's fine. We're all gonna be just fine. Now we're gonna wanna saute off our mirepoix, if you're nasty, vis-a-vis the vegetables. You're gonna wanna get a nice deep bottom pot, nice and hot. You're gonna wanna get the pot super smoky. That way when the vegetables hit, cook nice on the outside, you wanna hear that sizzle. Smoke detector was put away. Fighting back like a caged lion. Your ultimate goal here is just that you want to soften everything up. You want it to be as soft as your ex-boyfriend on his last Tinder date. And start to see a little bit of browning on the bottom of the pan, and deglaze it with a little bit of booze. What I have on hand? Sure, why not? You want to make it as soft as your emotions after you just found out that you got laid off when you're in the middle of making a goddamn cooking video trying to help those around you. You want to be as soft as your heart when you find out that your employers did everything for you to try and keep you your job. It's just self-isolation. No, it's just the sign of the times. Everybody's going through it right now. Oh, I'm so lucky I get to stay home for forever now. Cook all of my corn buddies, all of my corn dream team meals every fucking night. They're gonna be made with such passionate love. If my chef is watching this, please don't judge me for deglazing my pan with actual Milwaukee beer. That's not. Feel free to deglaze even once again if you start to see a little bit of color on the bottom of the pan. The color is a good thing, as it adds a little bit of color to the vegetable. I've chosen to deglaze the pan with a little bit of my own fucking tears. Oh yeah, look at them salty, smooth bubbles. Should also be noted that tears, the saltiness of them, help to add flavor. Now the next step here is we're gonna add our sauteed vegetables and our potatoes into the stew. Now what you're gonna notice here, you're not gonna notice it because I'm not gonna show it to you. I'm now too drunk to do this video. Now your next step is to add your sauteed vegetables and your potatoes into the stew. And then we're gonna go about seasoning them. You're gonna heat it up nice and gradually, just like the boiling of your emotions as to the current state of the world pandemic and the laying off of all of the people and all of the people that are close to you boils up the rage inside you. Gently. Now at this point we're gonna wanna add our seasonings, because as it tastes right now, literally just shitty Campbell's beef broth. Tastes about as shitty as the way I feel. Adding a little bit of thyme for all the time I'm about to have on my hands. A little bit of HDP, that's the herbe de Provenance, if you fancy, which really I'm not. I'm gonna be wandering around the house all day, in my pajamas, nothing to do, probably just stinking of piss and shit, and a little bit of parsley. I got nothing for parsley. Don't forget your salt and your pepper. Not quite as salty as the tears that you've cried. Ain't no amount of seasoning is gonna make you feel anything. Stepped on a celery. Once you got your bad boys all seasoned up, then you can get into adding your cornstarch and forgetting about how sorry you feel for yourself. Basically, you're just gonna let those cook down until they taste good. Keep adding seasoning as per necessary. Save for the fact that I can't taste anything more due to the extremely hot coffee I drank earlier and the severe amount of vodka I've consumed throughout this video. But you know what? Just go get 'em, Tiger. The world's your oyster. Alright, boys and girls, it's now time to add our cornstarch as thickener. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of our Fleischmann's, dump it into a bowl, as such. I have already put water in it, but you can go either way you want to. Fuck, that's too much. It's fine. The ultimate goal here is to make what we call in the kitchen industry a slurry, kind of like what I'm doing to my words right now. Eventually, if you stir it enough, it's gonna look like a bowl of milk. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, milky slurry, which will give you something else to cry over instead of the spilled milk or, being let go from your job because of a fucking pandemic. That one's not good. I can do that again. Milk of... What's a good milk analogy? Alright, boys and girls, it is now time for us to add our cornstarch. Now, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your cornstarch, Fleischmann's as I have chosen. Fleischmann's. Other way. Fleischmann's. You're going to want to put it into a little bowl, as such, and add a little bit of water to it. Alright, and it's going to make what we call a slurry. That is the technical term. It's going to end up looking over milk. I mean, if you spill it, it'll give you something to cry over too. There we go. Just give that a little bit of a stir. Now that we've added our cornstarch, just want to give you guys a little sneak peek of what it looks like. As you can see, we are nice and thick, nice and creamy, nice and juicy. 2 hearty bowls here, especially considering the fact this might be the last food that I eat for a little while. Well, that about concludes our journey for this afternoon. Just gonna sit here and wait for the husband to come home and fill him in on the good news. Next time you see me, I'll probably be found in a gutter somewhere. Or who knows, I could be stuck here for a minute making absolutely awful and embarrassing videos of myself just to throw up on the internet. Lest I be throwing up myself. But nonetheless, I hope y'all had a great time with me this afternoon. Now I just want to say, from my family to yours, happy cooking and happy f***ing quarantine. Really? Nothing? Really? I've selected Campbell's beef broth. You f***ing piece of shit. Why isn't it working? I don't want to do this. Now while your oven's warming up, you're gonna... Google for how the instructions are. Oh, so close.